Hello, enchanted ones. You guessed it. No Christmas is complete without turning your house into an enchanted wood. Hello, enchanted ones. Welcome back to another video within these realms. This week I thought I'd do a little bit of a different video than usual. Obviously it's getting to that time of year again where it's time to get the Christmas decorations out, and if you thought that arch was my Christmas decorations, you were wrong. It's a perfect time of year for me to just go mad. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go extra mad this year is, if you didn't already know, it's the first year that I've spent outside of my mum's house and I'm on my own now, so it's time to really use my imagination and creativity. The actual process of doing my decorations took 2 days, partly because I don't just have one tree, I have 3 Christmas trees. One day I would like to get a real Christmas tree, but of course because I have 3, I thought it might be a little bit excessive. So I'm going to be showing you some DIYs, I'm going to be showing you some tips and tricks, and I just hope you enjoy this fun little video. And at the end I will be giving you a tour of the Enchanted Wood, just like I am now, face to face. So this whole process began on Thursday morning. So Thursday was a day I set aside for the jobs that weren't so glamorous, but therapeutic nonetheless. I had a deep clean of my home and took the autumn decorations down. And then it was time for those magical boxes to come down from the attic. The reason why I set aside 2 days for this is because whenever I put the decorations up, there is always a few things that go wrong. Make sure... Oops. So eventually I started putting up the trees and very quickly realised I didn't have anything to wrap around the bottom of the trees, and it looked very bare and didn't look good. As I was thinking of possibilities, I put up this lovely garland and the other 6-foot tree that was tall and skinny, and decorated everything with the lights, albeit still thinking about the base of the tree, as I was literally stumped with what to do. But eventually a simple idea came to me later on when I had put my Christmas pyjamas on, and it was simply using cardboard. I cut out 4 sides that matched the measurements of the base of the tree, and then I cut out 1 extra. I then taped all of these together and bent them all to form a circular shape. I should have ironed it, but then I got a scarf that I wasn't planning on wearing for a month, wrapped the cardboard around this, and then simply wrapped it around the base, tucking the edges into one another. Lastly, I filled this with fake snow, and it was such an easy DIY for someone with no other options. Well, it was safe to say I had enough for one day, so I simply turned the main lights off and walked around the lounge, just appreciating the lights and the beauty of them. I love walking around and just feeling grateful, especially at night time, and now I had the lights, I had more of a reason to be grateful. And as for the decorations, I was so excited to put them up with leisure tomorrow. And it was off to bed. The next day I woke up super early from excitement, but also because I had an idea that called me into the woods. But not just anywhere, a place called Mossy Den. This place called me today because it had everything I intended to gather: moss, holly, and fir. It is so beautiful here and just full of evergreen life, and the moss on the floor is so soft, it's unreal. I also went to the one and only secret swamp and found plenty of miniature fir cones, along with these huge fir cones which were so beautiful. I then travelled home and to say I was cold was an understatement. So to make myself warm up and get into the festive mood, I made a few simple things, the first being a non-alcoholic version of mulled wine. I simply mixed red grape juice with oranges and spices and put it to simmer. And secondly, puff pastry mince pies. My trick is to add extra orange to the mincemeat. Once these were cooking away, I changed into something a little more festive and warmed up with my lovely festive snacks. And then it was time. I started with the first tree. This was going to be full of enchanted forest ornaments. My colour scheme, gold and green, always creates such a magical tree. I love how the gold creates a regal look, yet the green blends into the tree, leaving either a silhouette or a different texture to look at. I also continued this theme up the garland on the stairs too, but this time using smaller woodland items such as fir cones and birds. I then turned my attention to the second tree, and this was the tree that inspired me to go into the woods. I wasn't too keen on this tree from the beginning as it looked bare and lifeless, so it was time for a makeover with the items I collected from the Enchanted Wood. I first wired pieces of fir I collected and placed these all over the tree to build up its thickness. I was then going to make a similar cardboard base for the tree, but I was actually inspired by the trees in Mossy Den because the base of the trees are completely covered in moss. It gave me an idea to do something similar to my base of the tree, and I loved the result. I then simply decorated the tree with the rest of the gatherings from the forest instead of baubles or stars. The idea is the nature will be the star of the show here. Lastly, I turn my attention to my silver birch tree, which had these beautiful bare branches. I didn't want to overdo this tree, so I simply placed a few silver metallic baubles on the branches, leaving it to be elegant and regal. It was then time for the finishing touches, which in my opinion is my favourite bit and something I can waste so much time on. And I did waste so much time on them because by the time I was done, I was shattered. And here we are now. So yes, I was completely shattered at the end, but I had such a magical day. So let me give you guys the tour. So here we are in the lounge, and I love how this has turned out. I feel like everything has been brought together by the arch and the tree, and it's just so cozy. So let me show you around a few of my favourite parts. This here is one of my favourite things, and this is my Advent house. I actually bought it from a craft store and it was just normal wood, but then I painted it to become this really lovely Tudor house, and somebody will hopefully be filling this up for me soon. Next, the tree. Now this is just my traditional Christmas tree that I normally do every year, and yeah, I love this. This is the most meaningful tree to me, I think. My favourite decoration though has to be this beautiful crescent moon. It was actually from my grandma's house, something that I used to put on her tree as a child, and since she doesn't have a tree anymore, I had to take that one. Yeah, just how the whole theme is continued with this garland upstairs. I feel like that's what brings it all together. And of course the piece de resistance is the two little robins in the middle. So now we're done with the lounge, let's go through the portal into the dining room. So I love how this room's kind of like the opposite of the lounge in a way. It's kind of more minimal than the lounge, which I really like, a bit more open. By the piano, I've created this lovely little woodland scene. Also, this beautiful tree. And what I love about this tree is, from afar it just looks like a normal tree, but when you look closer you can see that it's full of those little elements from the forest, the ivy, the holly, and I also added these little orange slices at last minute. I think the best thing was the base of the tree, and seeing all those mossy roots inspired me to cover the whole base of the tree in moss. And I love how the symbolism of these fir cones beneath the tree are kind of like presents, but they are nature's gifts. So with the table I kept it quite minimal for now. And lastly, the tree. So this has turned out to be really lovely and minimal and simple, and I love that idea. When you think about a silver birch in the forest, it is very elegant, and this time of year, especially because it's quite bare, I didn't want to take anything away from that. I wanted to have quite small baubles just to complement the figure of the tree. So yeah, there's the tour. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I think the moral of today's story is you can decorate a tree whatever way you like, and it is perfectly acceptable to have multiple Christmas trees if you choose to do that. I don't know what my favourite Christmas tree is out of the three. I love them all equally. Let me know which one yours is though. And also I'd love to hear how you decorate your home and what style or theme you decorate to. So thank you for watching Enchanted Ones. I love you all so much, and I will see you next week.